Gates Adams here on behalf of Apex Trader Funding, and I am here with John in San Angelo. John, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. It's almost Christmas, about to go see the in-laws that I love. We're doing all right.
Excellent, excellent. Well, as you know, you're here because you had a recent payout with Apex Trader Funding. So congratulations on that first and foremost. So the big question that everybody always wants to know right off the bat, how long have you been trading?
Oh man, so I've been trading for about 5 years since October,
Okay.
but that was I wouldn't call it trading. It was putting $2 in Netflix when it was like $170, on Robinhood. So like it wasn't anything big. I felt major FOMO when it hit 180, 190. $20 difference was a big deal back then. So
Right.
been in the scene for about 5 years, but I haven't been actively trading since I would say about 2 years. It was about
Okay.
2019 when I started diving in and getting really serious.
Okay. So did you start in futures, or I mean, when you actually got to actual real trading, did you start in
Yeah,
futures, or where did you start?
great question. I went straight to options.
Okay.
Once I got a hold of that, man, my life turned upside down. So I went straight options. Unfortunately, being as fresh as I was and thinking I could own the market, I spent a lot of time in Tesla just
Mhm.
because it was a mover, right? Like
Right.
I don't want to waste time in Microsoft and Apple and gold and silver, especially when these things just don't move the options the way that I wanted it to.
Right.
Like I really wanted to replace my full-time job. Don't we all, right? So I started yeeting some things into the sun with Tesla, and it tanked my account pretty fast, naturally. But I had the money to throw away, and that's exactly what happened. But after that, I started getting pretty serious about it, and options led into futures here pretty recently. And I've only been trading futures for the first week of September, something
Wow.
like that. But I've had my eye on it for a long time. I just didn't understand it until recently, and
How,
it a world of difference. I'm not going to do options ever again.
right. I hear that a lot. Now, how did futures actually hit your radar?
Man, I don't know. I want to say I was reading something on I don't know, a website about digging into options and just reading the different Greeks and blah blah blah. And then I just ran across, if you're interested in this, check out futures or whatever. So I started reading it, but I was like, man, that's way too much for me. Gold, wheat, cows, soybeans, coffee, lumber. Like I'm in construction, so I know lumber. Maybe I could trade lumber. I don't know. So I had it on my radar for a couple of years. I just didn't dive into it until recently when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put my big boy pants on and I've got to figure this out. And once I did, I was like, oh man, this is everything I've been looking for. So
What was that switch for you? What ultimately made you pull the trigger?
Greeks. It just got rid of the Greeks because I would so many times I would be so right on Tesla,
Mhm.
but it would shake just a little bit and it would destroy premiums and I would get baked.
Right.
So I got really tired of Greeks really fast. And I know a lot of people that still, trade 0 day SPX every single day and they crush it. And I'm like, man, good for you. But I could 0 day ES and just put a couple minis in and I'd be fine. I'd make the same amount with less exposure. So
Sure.
yeah, that's the switch for me.
Well, and that's one of the things that we see over and over and over again is that, different people are going to be more comfortable in different arenas, one way or
Yeah.
another.
Yes.
There's really no one size fits all, whether it's an instrument, whether it's a strategy, whatever it is, anything that's viable is going to work for some people and not for somebody else.
Yes,
And
exactly. I
so
love it.
ultimately that trading has to match your personality, your risk tolerance, your thresholds, all the things that start messing with your head.
Mentals, yeah.
Everything has to be in some level of alignment. So when it came to futures, how did you learn? Where did you go to learn to trade futures?
Honestly, I just transitioned straight from some of my option strategies.
Okay.
There were things I look for in breakouts on option premiums.
Mhm.
I hardly ever started trading. Well, once I started trading options seriously, I hardly ever looked at a chart. I looked at the options premium
Mhm.
rather than what the price action was doing, and I
Gotcha.
started trading for that. So I just transitioned that mentality and grew in a couple different strategies. There's a fellow out there, Stock Market Wolf. If you're familiar with him, he used to
I'm
do
not,
small.
but yeah.
Okay. He used to do small caps for a little while, but his system was something that I started to feed off, and I've since grown into something a little more adaptive.
Mhm.
But I just shifted laterally, and I do the same thing just on a 2 minute time frame.
Right. Awesome. All right, so let's talk about Apex Trader funding and the world of funding in particular, because that's kind of why we're here in the first place.
Absolutely.
When did you first hear about trader funding conceptually? Like not digging into it, but you just heard that trader funding might be something that existed.
I would say it would be maybe 4 years ago
Okay.
when I started hearing things about prop firms and blah blah blah. But by then, like at that point in the game, that was unattainable for me. Like there was nobody out. I didn't even consider the idea, the possibility of like, man, I can't manage millions of dollars. Like that's what prop firms are, right?
Right.
Like I'm not going to manage millions or hundreds of millions and then have the skin of my teeth yanked off every day. Like not going to happen.
It's to
But
be a
here
lot of pressure.
way too much pressure, way too much. I have a lot of gray hairs coming out recently from
Oh,
all that.
stop.
Yeah, way too much pressure. And I was like, no, that's not realistic.
Right.
But I'm in a chat room with a handful of guys on Discord
Mhm.
that have been helping me out a lot. And different story for a different time. But recently, I had a fellow talking about Top Step and Elite and blah blah blah, and I looked him up and I was like, way too many rules. Like I'm self-employed, I'm self-motivated, I go to work and do my thing. I put my headphones on and listen to audiobooks. Like I do my thing and I can't have somebody telling me what to do because then it sort of ruins my rhythm. Um, but then I had a guy in that channel say, yo, check out Apex. And I was like, what is that? Whatever. But as soon as I pulled up the website and I started scrolling through the options, I was like, this is night and day.
Right.
I don't even care. I don't even care that their payout is once a month. And this was at the time in
Right.
September, just months ago. I was like, I don't care about their structure for anything. This is it. And so I just went all in. I just dove feet first and into a couple of 50K accounts and some 300Ks and just started crushing it from there. And honestly, I don't think I could try anybody else at this point. You guys are just way
That's
above.
That's awesome. We absolutely love to hear that. Now it sounds like maybe you didn't go through some of this because you were familiar with prop firms to begin with. You've kind of been around the block a couple of times with different scenarios. But did you ever have that? Okay, well, I understand what a prop firm is, but what's a performance account and how does this really work? Did you go through any of that skepticism of this is like too good to be true?
Right. Yeah. No, that's an excellent question. Right before I dove into a couple of evals, I stuck, I want to say about 2 grand into, not all at once, but stuck a couple $100 into Trade of Eight.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what, let's just try this. I'm just going to dabble in a couple of MES and had some good success. But I was just rotating through so many cons that my commissions, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with them. My commissions just ate everything. And
Right.
so year to date, I'm down 2 grand, but I'm net positive 400 because the commissions just ate me alive. And I was like, I'm just not in a mental spot right now to handle that kind of just consistency for myself and my own money. And so then I just dove into Apex and just started uh, dabbling with that. And honestly, the leverage difference made the difference for me. I was able to stay consistent, but I wasn't worrying about those $5 that would have killed my personal funded account.
Sure.
Like I had the room, the bandwidth, or whatever you want to call it, to like let something breathe. And so
Right.
that was the difference for me. So
Excellent.
I think that was kind of a circle way of answering that. And if it didn't, you can ask it again.
That's okay. No, that got there. So now you actually came on board and got your first eval with Apex. You said in September.
Yeah, I want to say it was September 7th,
And
might have been my first eval.
for context, at the time this is being recorded, we're in December, so
Mhm.
just a couple of months or a few months. So it didn't take you too long, and of course now you got that first payout. Was this the first payout?
This was the first payout. Yes,
First payout.
absolutely. Mhm.
Right on. How did that feel?
It felt pretty good. Probably not as good as it should because I blew a bunch of evals.
Mhm.
And so as the financials lay, it's still net negative, but this is the first payout I've ever had in my life.
Right.
I've never paid myself from my Thinkorswim. I've never paid myself from Interactive Brokers. This was the first time I actually withdrew something significant.
Right.
The effort I was putting in, so that was pretty big. That's actually a pretty big deal for me right now.
Now that you've hit that threshold, that benchmark, if you will, what do you think happens to your mindset going into January, February, as we're moving forward now?
That's a great question. And again, with some of the gray hairs, my wife commented on them recently. She's like, I didn't want to say anything, but November and December have been really stressful because I run your what is it, the link, the what's the thing that allows you to link trades?
Oh, the copier.
Yes, copier, the trade copier. Sorry, that was slipping my mind. Yes, I run trade copier. So I'm running 8, 10 accounts right now. I'm doing 10 evals,
Wow.
and I link them because I like spreading the exposure. So like
Sure.
a dollar move with some MES, 10 accounts with $100, that happens real fast. I'm like, I can get with that. I like that.
Right.
So it's changed. I mean, the long way of answering that, it's changed absolutely everything because I started off with some of those 300s thinking I could just own the world. And I'm throwing 35 minis out the door and it just wipes you every single time. Even if you hit 20K in a couple of seconds and it retraces, it's gone. It's just gone. And I'm like, well, I can't trade like that. So getting over, I guess, some of that overconfidence and greed factor and just toning it down. After this first payout, I've gone from 35 minis to 1 or 2 MES, and I'm still cranking out $1,000, $5,000 days on my evals because I have that risk spread out on 10 different accounts.
Right.
So moving into January, I've never felt better in my entire life.
That's
So
exciting. That's a pretty good place to be going into a new year, and just
yes.
with the excitement, motivation, and momentum more than anything else.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't want to start this fresh. I wanted to leave the year the same way I wanted to start it, and that's on an extremely high note. So this isn't a new year, new me. This is, oh, look, 2023, let's keep the ball rolling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you were talking to a brand new person, just kind of, oh, you know what? Let me take a step back. Let me ask you this. So you've been here through the transition over the course of the last 6 or 8 weeks or so, when we've started to have some adjustments to the rules and structures. What has that done to your mindset working with Apex?
Absolute Christmas on the inside. Like I was never expecting this to happen anytime soon. And I was just going to bite the bullet and like, yo, I really don't like, and I'll be quite honest, I really don't like NinjaTrader compared to Tradeovate and using some of these other systems. But I was like, but their structure is just so much better. I'm just going to suck it up and use it. And after those changes rolled through, I was like, this is everything I've been looking for. Like 2 payouts a month. I don't have to wait 4 or 5 or 6 weeks. Already on top of no rules. There's always one rule,
Sure.
but yeah, just everything. I was just like, this is everything I needed it to be, especially rolling into the new year. And I'm glad it rolled out at the time that it did.
Excellent. Excellent.
I'm super stoked.
Awesome. So where I was kind of getting to, you're talking to a new person, just kind of getting started, first time looking at funding and going down this road. What's the biggest piece of advice you can give somebody that would help them maybe shorten the curve a little bit?
Keep it small. I mean, size down is going to be the answer to every single problem. And I used to not think like that just even a handful of months ago. I mean, I'm sitting here doing, are you familiar with The Mental Game of Trading with Tendler, his book?
No, not yet. And I've got a stack of them that I've got that I've got to go through for obvious reasons for myself. But I will absolutely add that one to it.
I would highly recommend that one to somebody starting off, not just yourself or myself. I've gone through it a couple of times, but he talks about his poker method of a mental hand history of what you've had in the past and how you acted with it. Well, trading is the same way. If I had this much leverage in an account, how did I treat it? What are my greed factors? And anyway, it's an excellent read. But recently I've been burning through that and just putting in the work, journaling, like, this is what I did, this is how I acted. And
I'm going to stop you right there. You said the magic word, in my opinion.
Yeah.
which is just my opinion. Journaling. I'm, you know what, we were getting close, but I'm going to go ahead and take a moment, and I want to ask you about your journaling and why you do it, how you do it, and why you think it's important.
Absolutely. I'm one or two people away from TradeZilla, that guy that's recently pushed that out,
Yeah.
and it's an excellent platform. And I would love to spend the money on it here in the future whenever I'm staying really consistent on my withdrawals.
Mhm.
But at the time being, it's just pen and paper. It's a whole lot of notes on my phone and my Mac, and a couple of calendars that I just keep next to me saying, this is what I did on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And, I mark pink for red days and green for green because I have a pink highlighter or whatever. So like I'm doing my own TradeZilla on my calendar. But honestly, I would say at the beginning I journaled a couple things that I traded because they were just monumental, life-changing, money-moving moments that I missed out on. And I was like, why did this move? How could I have captured it? And that's where my strategy first started grabbing legs back in 2019 was, why did Tesla move today? How could I have caught it? And I just loaded my chart up with indicators and just wait until they all lined up, which was once every month. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like I need to be doing something every day. I can't wait once a month for an A plus plus. And so as I started journaling, I started recognizing more and more opportunities. So that was the first factor, was like, yo, I found more opportunities in my journaling because stuff finally started settling in here and settling in here, where you just don't get excited about what you missed. And so just finally journaling and recognizing that, hey, I survived FOMO. It started really getting the ball rolling on, you know what, I need to look at every single trade that's different than what I normally do and evaluate, was that worth trying to execute? Was it worth the risk? Was it worth the RR? Blah, blah, blah. But it also dove into confirming with what worked and staying consistent with that. I mean, we could talk years and years and years about how that's made a difference and how it continues to make a difference, even though I know what I'm doing and I could write down on paper what my strategy, management, exit, profit target, blah, blah, blah. Just taking notes daily gets you a good, what's the word for it? A good sample on yourself so that you can look back and say, you know what? Let's harden those things that worked and start unpacking the things that didn't and start getting those out of my system.
And I think we'll find a lot of people that'll ask this question. And if you can kind of nutshell it, what specific data are you putting in your journal?
I'm putting my daily P&L. I'm putting the accounts that I failed. What did I really start stepping into? And to tie into mental game of trading, I start journaling about those triggers. So like when I start sizing up isn't my trigger, it's my consequence, right? So what was I feeling? What did I start doing? Oh, it's because I was negative $2 in P&L and I saw red, and then I started seeing red. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm doing those specific things. And then other than that, I'm just journaling more confirmations on like, hey, I had an A plus today. This is why it worked. And just doing that over and over and over again, even though I know it, starts making some of those entries second nature. So my executions are happening a lot faster now because of that too.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Well, this has been fantastic, John. I really appreciate your time today. And, as I sit here and I talk to you, I mean, I hear a lot of the things that, as we've kind of started to do this, a lot of the things that are really showing what makes a trader consistent, what makes a trader successful, not just a flash in the pan, got lucky one month and took a payout, but what makes somebody consistently profitable, consistently taking money out of the account and making this part of their living, or in some cases their whole living. So I'm so looking forward to next month and seeing where we go from here, because this is I think this is the start of something big, and we're so glad to have you as a part of the group here. And I look forward to doing another one of these next month when you get an even bigger payout.
Yes, absolutely. And even having some of your affiliate, sorry, I won't drag too long, but having an affiliate, I was just like, why not? I'll sign up, and I got to keep on code, blah, blah, blah. We had some 80% sales for Black Friday, and I had some guys in the channel on Discord that were like, yo, tell me about Apex. And I'm like, let me tell you about Apex. So
Right. Oh,
I
by the
got
way, here's my link.
yeah, and that was exactly. I was like, listen, I don't care if I get $12. I don't care, whatever. I'm like, just use it. You get some, percentage off on your accounts, and consequently, they went and threw some stuff into the sun over and over and over again. And even though with my withdrawal, I got 2 grand on my 50K, he paid me $500.96 in his evaluation resets. And I'm like, listen, I'm not encouraging it, but I'm not going to tell you to stop. I just can't tell you to stop.
That is awesome. But you know what? Once you start to get into that mode and you start to see that success and you start to talk about it, that's just kind of a natural progression, because birds of a feather, you're going to be talking to other
Yeah.
people who are trading or wanting to trade and moving in that direction. Why not take advantage of that opportunity to not just help them and not
Yeah.
just help Apex Trader Funding, but throw a little extra something in your pocket as well? I mean, I'm all for it, as you know. That's what we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I love it. The entire thing is just everything I've been looking for.
Awesome. Awesome. Any last minute comments?
Man, I appreciate your time. I hope you know that. I appreciate you guys and what you're doing for the company. And I appreciate what you're doing for the customers. You're structuring it in such a way that it doesn't feel like the little guy anymore.
Right.
And you're making it not only available and accessible, but you're making it like it's part of a family. And I super appreciate that.
That's awesome. Well, that's a family that we definitely want to grow and make stronger and more powerful in every sense of the word. So
I'm with
welcome
you.
aboard, and we look forward to much, much more of this. We appreciate you, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Don't get too cold out there in San Angelo.
Yes, sir. I'm taking Friday off, man. Way too cold to work outside.
Right. Be safe.
But thank you, buddy. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Take care, John.
Yes, sir. We'll see you.